All right. All hearts and minds clear. Baruch Yahweh, Legon, bless Yahweh forever. I give you praises, O Yah, for you are good and your mercy endures forever and ever. I give you praises, O Yah, for waking us up on this beautiful Yom, on this beautiful day. Torah, O Yah, for this Shabbat. Torah, for giving us a day of rest. I ask, O Yah, that you may please continue to wash us and cleanse us from all filthiness. I ask, O Yah, that your desires will be our desires. And I ask that what you hate, we will hate. And what you love, oh God, that we will love. And what you enjoy, oh yeah, that we will enjoy. I ask, oh yeah, that we will be more like you and that we all will strive for perfection, that we would all strive for maturity. I ask, oh yeah, that we may have a heart to love and also a heart to forgive. And I ask that we will love so much that we will have no room for hatred and no room for bitterness and no room for violence against our brother and our sister. I ask, oh yeah, that you may be with us today, tomorrow, even forevermore. I ask, oh yeah, that you may be with us, even on this Yom, as we go into study, to Rabbi Yah, for giving us a heart to speak, to praise, a heart to ask questions, even a mouth to those we have to teach. I ask, oh yeah, that you may continue to do your marvelous work on each and every one of us, and that we, oh yeah, may be better than what we were the previous days. I ask you that none of us will remain stagnant and continue to be the same man or woman that we were, man or woman that we were yesterday or years before. But I ask you that there will be righteous men among us and that there will be righteous women among us. And that each and every one of us will be in our roles, that we will do our part, that we will do our portion. And that we once again may be called a people, a set apart people, a righteous people before your face, that we may be a wise and understanding people and not a foolish people, that we may be a people strong and courageous, but never prideful. I ask for you that we may be a people that loves one another, that we will be righteous men and women before your face, a people who you, oh Yah, will be proud of, a people who you, oh Yah, will delight in, and not a people that you will have to bring your wrath upon, and not a people who you have to destroy. I ask you that you may help each and every one of us with our individual problems and our issues. And please, oh Yah, remember all those who are sick, injured, recovering from surgery, those who may even need surgery. Remember all of them, oh Yah. Remember their bodies, remember their flesh. And as for the sins, I ask that they may be forgiven. And anyone who may be going through any type of stress, anything that is mental, anything that is spiritual, yeah, those who battle with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, those who battle with fear, low self-esteem, I ask that you may heal and deliver them as well, oh yeah. As for their spirits, oh God, and their minds, I ask that they may be healed, that they may be restored. And as for their sins, oh yeah, I ask that they may be forgiven. Please hear these words of God for be in your will, for it is your will that shall be done. I may what I may, so be it, so be it. Hallelujah.
Amen. Wa Amen. Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. I'll turn it over now to our Moreh Samak.
Shabbat shalom, Mr. Bakar. Shabbat shalom. We're gonna before we get into any of the reading, we're gonna do just a little Hebrew review on some things. Just a quick Hebrew review for a moment. Give me a moment. Let me put my screen share up. So I have it on some stuff written on the board for you in the room. I'm going to share on the screen for those that are online. Just give me one moment. It's not sharing the right thing, is it? What do y'all see on the screen? Can y'all see anything on the screen? Y'all seen the full screen?
I see a picture of
Mountainside.
some land.
It's not the right thing. Hold on, see now. It's the wrong thing. Why doesn't it share properly on this thing? Give me one moment, Mr. McCall. We always have these technical difficulties. Right when it's time to try to share the on class. Give me one moment. I don't know why it won't go to the one I'm selecting. Give me another moment. That's that. Now here's Zoom. Share screen. All right, can y'all see the screen now? What are y'all seeing on y'all end?
The screen, Hebrew
Okay,
screen.
so, okay, so with the Hebrew reading, y'all have been doing really well with the Hebrew reading. But when we get into reading, we start getting into some of the larger words. There's going to be one what we call a vowel marker. Someone says a vowel, a unique type vowel. Others will say it's not really a vowel, but it's actually a syllable. It helps to change syllables, help us vocalize the words properly, which is going to be the Shiva. Some may say Shiva, but I say Shiva. And so some would call it a vowel. Some would say it's a unique type vowel that's not really a vowel, but it helps with pronunciation of words. We're not going to really get into that. We just want to know how they function. So when we start reading words and as the words get larger, sometimes they're going to have more consonants, they're going to have more vowel sounds or syllables. And so as we need to be able to pronounce the syllables in each word and know how many syllables in a word, the Shiva is one that actually helps us with the pronunciation, but at the same time, it's hard to pronounce them if we don't know the rule or how they're utilized in the text, all right? So I'm going to read this from the screen, then I'm going to give the example on the board for those that are in the room. So there are 4 cases when a Shiva is vocalized and creates this vowel-like sound. Not all of these have to occur at the same time. When it begins at a word or syllable, so we talk about when it's vocalized. So one of the things about a Shiva is there's going to be a silent Shiva, and then there's going to be a vocalized Shiva, which means you pronounce it. So sometimes it's like a placeholder, and in Hebrew they have what we call open and closed syllables, all right? So an open syllable is like if we continue the syllable going on like ah, ba, ga, da, like it's open. You're going from one syllable to the next syllable. A closed syllable will be if you take aleph and bet together, and aleph and bet singular will be ah, ba, that's open syllable. Closed syllable will be ab. So when you're closing the syllable, you're putting the joining 2 letters together, and you're making a closed sound ab versus abba, all right? So abba is open syllable, ab is closed syllable, but it's still aleph bet. Okay, so the Shiva is going to be important because sometimes a Shiva may actually close a syllable, or it may tell you when to still pronounce a syllable for it. All right. So one of the times when a Shiva is vocalized, anytime it's under a letter at the beginning of a word, it is vocalized. All right. So it's never a time to get confused. And again, for those who don't know, the Shiva is the 2 dots that look like a colon. Anytime it's at the beginning of a word, the first letter of a word, it's always vocalized. All right. So that's one rule that you know about the Shiva is the beginning of the word, it's always vocalized if it's the first, if it's under the first letter of the word. But then it's going to get into when do we know when or when not to pronounce it, or when is it going to be silent. When it's the second of 2 Shivas in a row, so it's in C diagram, which we can get to in a moment, and explain the pronunciation. So when it's 2 in a row, so it may have 2 letters, and I'm going to show up on the board in just a moment. There's going to be a time you see 2 Shivas in a row. So if they're back to back, one of them is going to be silent. It's going to be closing a syllable, and then the other one's going to be beginning a new syllable. So like when I just said ba, which is open syllable, if the aleph bet comes and then the dalet comes after that with a Shiva after that, one of them would tell you that you would actually keep it open like ba ga or ba da. This is not a word. I'm just using letters right now to give sound. And then one may say ab, and you may start pronouncing the next one, abda. All right, abda is not actually a word. I'm just giving you the idea of how it works. All right, so it says, so it's pronounced when it's the second of 2. So the first one will be silent if you have 2 consecutive Shivas back to back, and the second one will be vocalized. And that's the one. So when you hear the Hebrew reader, sometimes when they get paused up on these long syllable words or these words that have many consonants in them, when they come into these Shivas, they're trying to figure out how do I sound this out, and sometimes trying to remember the rule. Even myself, I have to continually try to remember the rule of, do I pronounce this one? And then there's other rules also that kind of we'll get to at another point that helps us with pronunciation, which actually goes beyond the Shiva, which we'll talk about later. So it says when it appears on the letter with a dagesh. So a dagesh is a letter that has a dot in it. I don't expect us to remember this at this time, but I'm going to share it at this time. So when it's in a letter under the dagesh, so there's what they call a dagesh forte and a dagesh lean or dagesh lene, right? So we have what's called a beged kafet letters, and I'm not trying to go all the way into that right now. So there's certain letters, there's 6 letters that are considered to be beged kafet letters, right? These letters have 2 sounds to be pronounced. Sometimes it's going to be a soft sound, sometimes it's going to be a hard sound. The letters that are beged kafet letters, if they have a dot, which is going to be a dagesh, if they have that dagesh in one of the beged kafet letters, it lets you know when you pronounce it as the heavier sound of the alphabet versus the softer sound. We'll talk about later. I was kind of going into this now because we're following what's written here on the sheet. But it says, and so if it's in a letter under the dagesh, so that's like when we say Shabbat, right? You might hear some people say Shabbat, right? Shabbat. So a lot of us, because we speak more from an English vernacular, we say Shabbat, Shabbat. We say Shabbat. It's actually Shabbat. So Shabbat, Shabbat, because it's going to be a dagesh there. So Shabbat. That's why when we say Sabbath, spelled Sabbath, Shabbat. You know what I'm saying? That's because it's Shabbat. All right, but our English speaking, we say Shabbat. You know, a Shabbat. So if you do hear others when they say Shabbat, it's because they're using grammar rules to pronounce these words. All right. So when it follows a syllable that contains a long vowel, here's what I was asking Zamir last week, and I was asking everyone when she was reading one of her roles last week, because she was getting to a freeze point trying to sound out this larger word or the larger word, and it had she was in it, and she was trying to figure out how to sound it out. And so that's when I was asking, is that a short or long vowel? So again, when you see a lot of us get stumbled on in Hebrew, it's not that we might have forgot our alphabet. Most of us don't forget the alphabet. We know what the alphabet is by now. But what happens is remembering grammar rules. What does this do? Remembering is a vowel, a long vowel, or a short vowel. In English, you may know what the long and short vowels are. In Hebrew, it's going to take time for us to retain them over memorize them. So there are going to be certain vowels that are long, certain vowels that are short. And so even though some vowel sounds, such as the Quamets and the Patak are both A-class vowels. And some would say the Quamets and Patak has different sounds. Some will say Quamets and Patak has the same sound. However, one of them is considered short, one of them is considered long. So the Patak, which is just like the dash, is a short vowel. The Quamets that looks like a little T is a long vowel. So if Quamets is under a word, you recognize it as under a letter, you recognize it as a long vowel, whereas if a Patak is under it, you recognize it as a short vowel. So one thing that the Hebrew readers will have to do is go back and actually look over the Shira rules and meditate on this rule for a while and learn the difference between short and long vowels. That's going to be very important. So right now, before going forward, can anyone tell me some of the long vowels and some of the short vowels? Is that Mary? You said Herek, and what else? You said Herek, Holem, and Quamets. Are you sure about Holem? Are you sure about Holem? Don't say sight. Don't just go. I'm just asking you, are you sure about that?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, so say what you are sure about.
Okay. Well, 3 dots. I can't remember the name right now.
The one with the 3 dots is called a Segal.
Segal
is what?
It's short.
Segal is short. Okay.
Quamets is short. And
Quamets is what?
short.
You sure about that? Quamets is short?
Yes.
Quamets is short. You sure about that? So you're not sure. You see how these things get? Because if you're not sure about it,
I'm sure.
you sure Quamets is short? I just said what Patak and Quamets. I just literally said it out my mouth. All right, let me give somebody a chance online. Adon Mikael, yes, sir.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. I'm gonna have to work on my short vowels, but this is how I remember kind of what's short and what's long for me. I remember that the commits, which is the T, is a long vowel. I remember that the holum is a long vowel. I remember the tiercy, I think that's how you say it, the 2 dots side by side. That's a long vowel. And the one that makes the ooh, the poo sound, I think is Sharek, is
That
it
was the
Shar?
question I asked last week, was about the Shrek, right? That's what
That's
I
a long vowel.
okay.
So I kind of remember right now to kind of
Mhm.
help me not take too much is that those four that I know of are long vowels. I yield.
Okay. So you said that one that makes the ooh sound. So I'm glad you tried to get the name of it, because see, that can throw us all off, because there's more than one that makes a ooh sound. Can someone tell me another vowel point that makes the ooh sound? So the sound is identical, but the vowel point is going to tell us whether it's long or short. What is it? See, kibbutz. So kibbutz, whichever one way to pronounce it. So it also makes the exact same sound as Shrek. Ooh. But one of them is long and one of them is short. So we can't just say the ooh vowel is long. We got to know which ooh vowel we're talking about that makes the ooh sound is actually long or short. And so for everyone that's listening in now, when you hear the Hebrew readers, when they start to stumble, it's not that they're losing their place a lot of times. They're trying to recall grammar rules. They're starting to, when they start reading new words that they have not already familiarized themselves with, and they don't know how to pronounce, including myself, we're going through, have to scramble through all those grammar words. In English, we know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we see them written. There's no vowel points, there's nothing. You just know the letters. We know how to sound them out because we've been doing that forever. But in Hebrew, they have to learn the consonant first. Some consonants can be used as a vowel or just a consonant. Then you have all these dots and dashes that look different. Some things are accent marks. Some things are plates. You know what I'm saying? So it's all these things that we're looking at in the text. That's why you see when we get to text that we're not familiar with, we start to read it slower because we have to now go back through, okay, what's the rule? So the thing is, if y'all would start working on the grammar rules, because we need to know which ones is long and short vowels. Now there is also, which we're not to yet, which we'll be getting to, there's combination vowels. So then there's also a combination vowels. We have multiple vowel points, and some of them can either be long or short. Some are called reduced vowels, some are still gonna be long vowels. So for the sake of time, let's move forward. That is the reason why, like when you start getting some of those other words, it's hard to sound them out because we're losing the vowel, the consonant vowel consonant rule, or which is a consonant vowel, or which is a long or short vowel. All right. So moving on with what's written, and then we're gonna get into some of the pronunciation, and we're not gonna do much reading today. But I just want y'all to go back and restudy your long vowels, find out what your long vowels are, what your short vowels are, and memorize these things. And then also the rule of the shiwa. If there's multiple shiwas consecutive back to back, the first one will be silent, which will be closing the syllable, the syllable that it's a part of, and then the next one will be pronounced. All right. When a shiwa is silent and basically does nothing but fulfill the role of a placeholder vowel, here's the times when it's going to be silent. When it ends a word or syllable. So when it ends a word or syllable. So like when I said, if when it ends a word, meaning it's going to be under the last letter of a word, or when it ends a syllable. So just for example, if it's at the beginning of a word, but it's two consecutive she was at the beginning of the word, you got three letters. The first two letters that she was under one of those, the second letter, then there's a she under the third letter, then the first one's going to close that syllable, or that first syllable will be open. The second syllable, it would close. Then the second syllable will be pronounced. So at the beginning of words, let you know that there are times when it will be silent. And so, so when a shiwa is at silent, it basically does nothing but hold a place. It says when it ends a word, when it is the first of two shiwas in a row, when it closes a syllable. Okay, and again, like I gave an example, like a closed syllable is ab versus abba. Abba is open syllable, ab is closed syllable. Both of them is aleph bet, but we're pronouncing each syllable individually. Abba, open syllable. It continue. Abba, continue. But ab is still going to be aleph bet, which is not closed syllable. So when it closes a syllable, and you need to know how to know when it closes a syllable, when it follows a syllable that contains a short vowel. So when it follows a syllable that contains a short vowel, so one of the things, instead of trying to remember like everything we're saying today, like if you can remember, if you can yourself, like Adon Miguel said, he found a way that he does for himself. But if you just always know that if it follows a short vowel, it's silent. If it follows a long vowel, it is pronounced. So that's one of the rules. Just to remember, if it follows a short vowel, it's silent. If it follows a long vowel, it's pronounced. And then the other rule that we simplify would be if it's two consecutive in a row, the first one would not be vocalized, but the second one, anytime they're consecutive, would be vocalized. All right. When it follows a syllable that contains a short vowel. All right. So now I'm going to do this on the screen. So You can see on the board, I'm gonna come back to the screen. This is the short, it's the 2 dots here, right? And then we have comments here. So we have the letter bet, resh, ka, hey, ba, ra, ka. The shiwa here is pronounced why? Because it's under the first letter. So you're seeing that it's pronounced ba, ra, ka. These are open syllables. Ba, ra, ka. Ba, ra, ka. That's open syllable. And at first shiwa is pronounced because it's under the very first letter. All right. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna do it online as well. And on this one, we have another word that's here. This is mem, shin, pay, tet. So we have charet vowel here. We have me. We have 2 consecutive here. So what happens if they're consecutive? Which one's silent?
Second.
First one stop.
Yes.
Okay. I like it. So the first one will be silent. So remember, this is ba, ra, ka. Y'all hear that? All those are open syllables. So if the first one is going to be silent, it says it closes the syllable. When it closes the syllable, so instead of saying ma sha, we say me sha. Like we have a sister me sha. So we don't say me sha here. We say mish. So they are joined together. Mish. Then you pick up the syllable again. Pate. Mish pate. So that's a closed syllable. And that's 2 consecutive right here together. So the first one joins with this letter here to close this syllable. Mish pate. Mish pate. All right, let me go back to online for a moment. Or if you would, can you be on the board and you just point as we discussed on the board?
Moreh,
Yes.
are you able to use your whiteboard?
I'm using whiteboard. I said I was gonna come back to y'all online because I have it on screen. So I'm about to do it online for you now. Because it's hard to see the whiteboard online, the way the glare is. So we have it here online for you all now. So what we were just going into on the whiteboard in the room, which Kanakya is not going to do the board. I'm going to do it on the screen so we can do it simultaneously. So we were going into the rules. So if the shiwa is under the first letter of an alphabet, then it will be vocalized. So this will not be silent. So you still say bah, but again, it's going to be a shortened sound. So where generally this will be ba, it's going to be a shortened sound. Bah, bah. But they have here like baraka showing you that it's a BA sound, but it's going to be more of a shortened sound, but it is vocalized. Baraka. All this is open syllables. Each vowel point. So the way he was written is consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. That's how you have the syllables. Consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. And so this is going to be an open syllable. This is the first U at the beginning of the word. Baraka, 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 baraka. You pronounce this one, all right? When we were saying if there's 2 consecutive shiwas in a row, there's 2 consecutive in a row, right? It says that if there's 2 consecutive in the row, the first one will be silent, the second one will be vocalized, all right? And the first one will close a syllable. So as I was showing them in the room, right here we have misha, if we was to do open syllable. Misha, right? Because this is mem, shin, pay, tet, yod. So you have misha if you were doing this as open syllable. But the fact that you see there's 2 she was consecutive, you will now close this syllable. So you take the mem and the shin together. So you take the first letter, which represents an M, and you have mish, because they joining this 2 together. Mish, and then you pick a new syllable up right here. Pate. Mish pate. Okay. So going over to the second word that we have here, you have the hey, mem, lamed, noon, yod, mem. All right. Under the hey, you have a short vowel, which is going to be the patak. And this is what we were just talking about in the room. This is komets, which is an A-class vowel. This is under the first letter hey, that's a patak, which is a short class vowel. They're both A vowels. All right. So there's only one shiwa in this. But there was another rule as to when it's vocalized or when it's silent. So if it's following, if it precedes, or if it's preceded by a short vowel or it follows a short vowel, is it silent or should you pronounce it?
Silent.
It's silent, which means it's going to close a syllable because this is a short vowel. And this is, well, like I said, when the words start getting longer, while you hear people pronouncing them differently, or we start to fumble sometimes, again, remembering the rules. So now this is a different rule than this, because this is double. This is still singular, but it's not the first letter of the word. So this will still be a closed syllable here. Why? Because this patak is a short A vowel. So you join it together. As you see here, H-A-M, ham. That's how you get that syllable, ham. And then it's ham. Now you come back into the next syllable, lah, neem. Ham, ma, neem. Ham, la, neem. Ham, la, neem. All right. Going over to the third word on the line that begins with a kaf, tha, or tav, as some say, et, ovet, yod, mem. So again, the she was not the first letter of the word, but it is following, it's preceded by the holum. So this right here is a holum over here, which is the vowel point holum. So another thing, some of the vowel points get confusing because some of them can be under the word, under the letter, some can be above the letter, or some can be beside the letter. So right here, we have the holum here, and a holum is a what type vowel?
Long.
So holum is long vowel. So instead of saying kota here, we would say coat, because it's now going to be a cigar. Instead of being coat, is what some may say coat bean, it'll be cote bean. I normally don't use the V, but for the sake of what's on the screen, they have cote bean here. That's a vet, cote bean, because it's following the long vowel, so that's when you know to pronounce that shiva. All right. Moving over to, we've already covered mishpateh, so we won't do that one again. We're gonna go to the word melech here. So it says if it's at the end of a word, also, if she was at the end of a word, it said it would be silent. So we have melech. Instead of saying melecha, if there was a komatz under here, we would say melecha. But if there's a shoe under here, it's closing this last syllable, so you have melech. It closed the syllable. All right. Going to the next word, that's pei resh ayin hey. Pei resh ayin hey. So we have what type syllable is it? Not syllable. What type vowel is commence? Long or short?
Long.
You say it's long? So that would throw us off. If we believe, I said commence.
No, that's short.
Yeah, patak. All right.
Yeah, that's short.
So we have here, now this letter, now remember what we was talking about the dagesh, right? So there's a dagesh lene, dagesh forte. Dagesh lene and dagesh forte look exactly alike. They're only a dot, all right? So they look exactly alike, but then you have to know which letters are beged kafet letters and which letters are not beged kafet letters. Just so happens that pei or fei is a beged kafet letter, which means it has a shorter sound and a heavier sound. So we have the PH sound like the F sound like in phone, and then you have the P sound, so it can be F, a P. So that's the guess right here. When this dot is in a P or a F, the dot let us know when to pronounce it as the P sound. Without the dot, it will let us know to pronounce it as the more of the F sound or the PH sound. All right. So PH as in phone. All right. So that's the reason why. So this the guess here is because this is a beged kafet letter. Now, if this would have been not a beged kafet letter and had a dagesh in it, that's going to switch the rule that we have with the shiva. But we're going to stick here for a moment. So we have par o, or someone say pharaoh, par o, because they close the syllable. All right. And the last one that we can go into for the moment would be mem, lamed, kaf, hey. Mem, lamed, kaf, hey. All right. So the she was following on what type comments again? What's comments? I got patak. It's short. So now you see here you have malcha. And all these rules are going to be very important because there's some Hebrew words that are spelled what almost looks identical. So you have a word king and you have the word angel. The word king and the word angel has the same Hebrew characters, consonants in spelling, but knowing how to vocalize with the vowel points. Now, the ancient Hebrews, they didn't use vowel points, but they still understood they had what was considered connectors and pointers. And depending on how they connected or they used their pointers, they knew which letters would act as a vowel at what place and which vowel to use. But for this Nakud system is put in place to help us pronunciate the words. So we have here Malka. And the reason why that's going to be important because the word for king, which we have, we're used to saying Malek if we use the modern vowel points, but you hear a lot of Hebrews that don't use the vowel points, they will say Malak. Malak. If they don't use the modern vowel points, the word for king, instead of saying Malek, they would say Malak. Malak, and it's spelled exactly the same way as Malek. This Malek has vowel points to switch the sound from the A class to an E class sound, right? So, but the word for angel is Mem, Lamed, Kaf, the same way king is Mem, Lamed, Kaf. So then the difference is it's going to be the connector of the vowels that will let you know to say Malak, or Malek, or Malak. Malak, open syllable, Malak, closed syllable. So that Malak is when you focus on Malakim or messenger, and Malak or Malek is when you're focusing on king. So syllabification is going to be very key because sometimes we may be reading things and we don't say it the right way, we can actually switch the meaning of what's being said. Well, we're not necessarily switching the meaning, but for someone that's hearing it and they understand it, they're going to interpret you to be saying something else if they understand it. For us who are just learning the way back, we just sounding it out right now, trying to recognize it, and we're reading from the English translation. We're like, oh, that's the word for king. But we do actually need to get these sounds right to know open syllable, closed syllable, because some words are spelled almost identical or use the same letters, but they're different words. All right. So again, before we go forward to reading, so if y'all would, so if you would, Hebrew readers, for your reading, so we're not going to do the reading today as we normally would. So if you would go back this week, learn and study your long and your short vowels. And also go ahead and let's step it up a level and start studying the combination vowels. Anyone that needs the vowel sheets, anything, let me know, and I will email you or send it to you via Telegram or via Messenger. As a matter of fact, I'll probably put a lot of stuff already in Telegram for those that are in Telegram to get this information. But again, study your long vowels, your short vowels, know what they are, at least the basic vowels that we've covered this for. Remember which ones are long and short, and remember the rules of the Shiva. If it follows a long vowel, it's pronounced. If it follows a short vowel, it's not pronounced. If it's two consecutive in a row, the first one is not pronounced. The second one is pronounced. If it's at the end of the word, it is not pronounced. Okay, so like a placeholder and a syllable closer. So if that's going to be that portion. Where are we on time? I'm not going to try to take too much more of your time. So now I want to go into a portion of Torah for a moment. And we're going to be going to the book of Bereshit. And we was talking about genealogies, and we was going into the genealogies a couple of weeks back, and the importance of the genealogies and how man came into being into existence. We follow how it started off letting us know about the creation of man. Man was evil continually. We've covered things such as who walked with the Most High, who didn't walk with the Most High, and it goes from all mankind being created to switching focus to the line of Noah, or to the line of Noah. And then there's going to be certain people that came forth from Noah. Noah had 3 sons, which is Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So if y'all did y'all reading, which I know you already read Bereshit before, but I said continue to read forward. So if you continue to read forward in Bereshit, you would have got to the point of reading about Noah and Noah's sons. And Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Shem is where the term Shemite comes from. So if y'all are hearing these terms online when they're saying someone is anti-Semitic, well, actually, I would use the term Shemitic because Shem is a line that Hebrews come from. Shemitic is a line that Hebrews come from. And a Shemitic person is not only an Israelite, a Shemitic person would be anyone that descends from the line of Shem. So even the way it's used in the world when people are saying anti-Shemite or anti-Semitic, that is some people that's capitalized off of. I ain't gonna really get all the way into that. Let us stay focused on where we are. But they utilize it wrong because there's many people that's Shemitic, basically with the point I'm trying to make. But they've taken and they've capitalized on it, and they have rules and stuff that we can't even say nothing about their falsehood, because now if you say something about what they're doing wrong, you anti-Semitic. When actually they're anti-Semitic, Could they have everything against all the other Shemitic people? You know what I'm saying? So the term Shemite comes from Noah's son Shem, which means Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But the line of promise is going to be following the line of Shem, all right, which is where the Shemitic come from. We know that there was the Most High. We covered last week how the whole earth was continually evil because man's mind was evil continually. And so since man's mind was evil continually, that's the reason why the Most High sent the flood on the Arets on the earth to destroy mankind. The only ones that were spared and saved was Noah and his sons, all right? Some of the things that he took onto the ark, what did he take onto the ark? Can anybody tell me what he took onto the ark, children? You say animals? What kind of animals? You said clean animals? Okay. Young man said clean animals. So he took onto the ark clean and unclean animals. And when he took on those animals, it said he took on what type? He said, take on 2 of a kind, the male and the female. So how many unclean animals did he take on? Let's go. Let's keep it basic first. So 2 what?
Male and female.
You say male and female, right? Which he took on how many unclean?
7.
Shema said 4. I said unclean.
Oh, clean 2.
Huh?
2 by 2.
He took them on 2 by 2, right? So, Ms. Willeen, you were laughing at us. So generally we would say he took on how many clean? We would say 7 generally, right? 7, but it would have actually been what? 14. Why? Because each one of them had a male and a female. So we would say take 7 clean and take how many unclean? According to the law, it said, according to what he said, take how many clean take on? Take 2 unclean and take what? 7 clean, right? So now when you look at it, it was actually 4 and 14 because you got the 2, but the 2 that you have will have a male and a female, which would be the 4. And out of the 7 is going to be 7 of the clean type, clean animals. And then you have what? The male and the female, which would make 14 of the clean that he took on. But to stay according to what the text says, take on 2 unclean, take on 7 unclean. The reason why I'm highlighting this to start with is because I want to show, like from the very beginning, just from a cultural perspective, that some of the thought process that we have today with people that want to say laws are done away with, or want to try to say, well, it don't matter what you eat, all these different things. We can see that from the very beginning, before there was a written Torah, there was instruction given to Noah. And Noah, when he went on, he was told to take 7 clean animals and take on 2 unclean. Why would he take more clean than unclean? And that's just a question. We don't have to answer now, but I mean, there's got to be a logic behind taking 7 clean and 2 unclean. There has to be a reason for that, right? So he's going to take on 7 clean and 2 unclean. So we know that the flood happened, and when it came off of the ark, what happened when it came off the ark? Huh? What did he do when he came off the ark? So he was on the ark, there was a flood on the ark. And then when he came off of the ark, he did something when he came off of the ark. You say he built the altar and did what? Imam Shoshan, I see your hand up.
He offered a sacrifice of one of the clean animals unto the Father.
He offered a sacrifice of what?
Clean animal.
All right, so let's go to Bereshit, which is Genesis. Bereshit, depending on one's Hebrew dialect, Bereshit or Barashiath, which is Genesis chapter 9. Chapter 8. And start at verse 15.
Bereshit, Genesis 8, verse 15. And Elohim spoke unto Noah, saying, go forth of the ark, you and your woman and your sons women with you. Bring forth with you every living thing that is with you, of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth and be fruitful, multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons and his woman and his sons women with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creeps upon the earth, after their kinds, went forth out of the ark. And Noah built an altar to Yah, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar.
So, I mean, y'all know I like to use common sense for nonsense, right? So from the very beginning, it already said, as we covered about Noah, it said everybody else was wicked, but it said Noah was pretty much the one that was righteous in the sight of the Most High, right? Everybody else was destroyed. So now he's coming off the ark and he gives thanks to the Most High. He took on 7 clean, he took on 2 unclean. And it says, and Noah, when he came off and he was told that he can leave off the ark, Noah builded an altar unto Yah and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl and offered burnt offerings on the altar. We never see any unclean offering actually offered to the Most High. And if you can't offer it to the Most High, we know there's a dietary law, because remember, these offerings that we offer to the Most High is also something that's eaten. There's only some that you don't eat because he say fully burn them, but any of the other ones, still a portion of it is what? To be consumed by you, right? So the Most High will, if you can only sacrifice to the Most High clean stuff, that means you can only eat what? You can only eat clean stuff. So it says, so Noah built and built the altar, and when he came off, all that was clean, he offered unto the Most High on the altar. Nothing unclean. Verse 21.
Yah smelled a sweet savor, and Yah said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite anymore everything living as I've done.
Okay, so I just want to highlight this verse before we jump forward to our next forefather I want to focus on for today. So here, we already see where Noah's father was hoping that he would be one that would kind of like redeem their name, redeem mankind's name, and the Most High would find favor through Noah, right? So now the earth is flooded, all the wicked mankind was destroyed, and now the Most High, he makes an offering to the Most High, which is kind of what his father was hoping he would do, like be one that would kind of restore some type of relationship with the Creator and some type of redemption for mankind, that the Most High would find favor. He would be the favorable one in the sight of the Most High, which he is, and he lived through the flood when all other mankind died. He offered up the clean offering to the Most High, and it said, and Yah smelt the sweet Savior, and Yah said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. So we've already covered in chapter 6 that man's mind is evil continually, and the Most High said, look, I understand man was evil from his youth. So what I will not do is get upset enough with them to destroy the earth with a flood again. So I'm not going to do that again. So this is pretty much a promise that the Most High is making in reference to what he did the first time. He will not do this again. And he says he understands the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living as I have done, while the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest and cold and heat and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So the Most High said he would not do so. Noah is now, as we were following about generation, why it's important to follow generations, because now we're following the seed of Shem, which Noah, the seed of Noah, which is going to be the father of Shem. He's going to produce Shem, but this is the righteous man that lived, he lived pre-flood, and then he lived after flood, all right? Only man and family that survived after the flood. So then following his line is we follow now the righteous line of mankind, which is going to produce the son Shem, which is going to now move forward to focus on some of Shem's lineage. All right. So let's drop that. I just want to cover. So again, when people want to say, well, it don't matter what you eat, things like that, we don't always have to go right to the dietary law just to stay there. Like common sense, we can see here that from the beginning, before there was actually a written dietary law, which it is my belief that because it says, because he already gave Adam and Eve instructions. So the father is always telling children something like, in our household, there's some unwritten rules. Like everything's not always written down, but if I told you, you know what it is. We did not hear every conversation that Noah had with the Most High. We did not hear every conversation the Messiah had with the Most High. We have what's recorded in the books for us, but we can only understand us being parents. You give your children rules and you might not have them all written down. And when your children starts breaking the rules, then you start posting them on what? The refrigerator. How many times we gotta, all right, we're gonna write this stuff down so that now if anybody misses, you know what's written. So the Most High's law has always been in effect. It just may not have always been written down. And simple-minded men who wants to go against the law of the Most High want to argue dumb stuff like, well, what the law then? The Most High has always been the Most High. The Most High has always been righteous. The Most High has always told us what and what not to do, what is good and what is evil. How could he destroy earth anyway for man being evil if man did not know what evil was versus what good is? They chose. So mankind at that time, even though they did not record the writing of Torah at that time, they recorded the writing, the giving of Torah during Moshe's time to the children of Israel, does not mean Yah's law wasn't known because they already knew the difference between what clean and unclean animals. Therefore, we see that written here, common sense for nonsense. Let's jump forward. So now the Most High made a covenant. So one thing I want us to also know And I know, as I stated, we're going to be doing beginners class. So in the beginners class, if y'all would, a lot of the beginners information is going to be coming during this portion here. And then the beginners class that we may have once a month, that's going to be for any question that you have, you can ask, but we're going to be trying to cover from the beginning going forward, even in our culture portion. So a lot of the information will come out here, but still what you don't want to ask during this setting, you can notate it. And then on the beginners class that we will have once or possibly twice a month, you can ask all your questions at that time that you might not get clarity on at this time. All right. So with that being said, one thing to note that is our Elohim is an Elohim of covenant. Covenants did not begin with Abraham. Covenants did not begin with Moses. Covenants begin all the way from the very beginning. The Most High was always giving covenants. So here we can see in the text that the Most High made a covenant already with Noah. I'm not going to show the earth again. Like the Most High has always been an Elohim of covenant. So just remember that. So whenever someone is saying that a covenant of the Most High is done away with, one thing you need to know is there's multiple covenants written throughout the Tanakh. So there's a covenant that was made with Israel. There's a covenant that's made with Abraham, which extends to the children of the nation of Israel. But then there's all types of covenant. Not destroying the earth anymore. That's a promise made by the Most High to mankind. So the Most High's word is true. And just understand the Most High has always been one to make covenant. So for someone to come try to do away with the covenant of the Most High, no man on this earth has the authority or the power to undo a covenant that the Most High has made with forefathers years ago that comes forward to the Yaladim or the generations that come forward from them. And as we started in going through the genealogies of mankind and focus on the righteous line, you can see that from the beginning, then it started focusing on these lines that was born. And then the Most High have a very strict recording of the life of Noah and Noah's descendants to Shem's descendants, going on to Abraham's descendants until we get to the Yisrael and follow the line of Yisrael. So it's very a long history of the Most High like follow these generations. All right, let's jump to chapter 12 today. And I'm about to get to the close in just a moment. Just want to get some of these points out. So we've been focusing on from Sukkot, a restoration of a nation, but you first have to understand the desecration of what desecrated the nation. So we can see that from the very beginning, before there was even a nation of Israel, that the whole world had desecrated itself. Mankind desecrated themselves. And so through one man's line, there's going to be restoration. So Noah and his family was restoring the righteousness during his time. And he produced Shem. Shem comes up, Noah raises Shem up to be righteous. When you read some of the other external writings or the extra writings, it will let you know that Shem was actually part of the priesthood. Noah was considered a priesthood. His line was a line of priests. Shem was considered a priest in his father's house. So there was a righteous line that kept forth the way of the Most High Yah to bring it forward to mankind. Then it shifts from now we focus on Abraham, all right? And so when we talk about restoration, Noah restored righteousness in the earth, or at least mankind for his time. And then, of course, we know that there's much wickedness and all types of things that men still got back to doing. And then we're going to follow another righteous one who's going to restore some things. All right. Let's go to Bereshit chapter 12 and start with verse 1.
Bereshit for Genesis chapter 12.
And I will need a Hebrew reader for this section. So give me 1 second. Let me get screen share up. Worked properly this time, Zoom. And it didn't. Let's do it this way. Say that word. Are y'all seeing Hebrew Bible on the screen? Can y'all see the Hebrew Bible on the screen?
It's up
Okay.
now.
All right, hold on. All right. Can I get one of the Hebrew readers to read this first verse? We're going to get a little Hebrew reading in. Can I get a Hebrew reader to read verse 1? All right, sorry yourself. Yes, sir.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachti, peace and blessings, peace and blessings.
Blessings.
Okay. It's the book of Bereshit, comic code Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Wayomer, Tefuah el Abram, let lecha me'arzka.
Look at this one again. We just went over this one for the Mishpachah.
Lecha.
Okay, so that's Lekah, that's Lek. So Mishpachah is one of the ones that we went over earlier. that when a she was at the end of a syllable, at the end of a word, it's going to be silent. So this is going to be closed syllable, lek. And then the kometz is under this one. And so that's the one that's pronounced. So we have lek laka, lek laka. Okay, continue on the dome.
Okay. Arska. Umim moled teka. Umibet abeka el haaretz asher bareka.
Verse 2.
Okay. Wa'e eska lego gadol wa'e bareka wa'e gadela shemeka wa'ye baraka.
Hallelujah. So going back here to now Yah said to Avram, right? So just going here, the reason why we try to study Hebrew is because we want to make sure that we're getting what's actually written in the Hebrew written in the English. So we have Wayomer. The root word for Wayomer is Amar. So another reason why you hear some of the Hebrew when we're reading words, it sounds different because people are trying to actually translate the words. And so when you have these prefixes in front of the root word and the word sounds change based on vowel points. So the root word here is Aleph Mem Resh, which is Amar, which is general word is going to be say, something like that. So we have right here Wayomer. Wayomer is a masculine, and Wayomer is more like and said. So even though it's said, it's letting you know a masculine said. Wayomer, now it's going to let you know who said. Wayomer Yahweh. So the Yod Why is the name of Most High. Wayomer Yahweh El Avram. So he said Avram Lech Lecha. All right, so there's a Torah portion that they call Lech Lecha, right? So those that do Torah portions, they actually theme and name the Torah portions. And the Torah portion that most people are reading throughout synagogues and Hebrew congregations today, if they stay on a strict regimen of a Torah portion, some follow a strict regimen. You know, we kind of move at our own pace so we don't rush anything. But they name it Lech Lecha, and it says, and they have it said here, get thee out, or to go. And someone said it means to go, right? So remember we was talking about Enoch. We said Enoch did what? What did Enoch, what was he known for? Enoch did what? He walked with what? With the Most High. Lech Lecha. Lecha is going to come from the root word I'm going to pull up on the screen for you for a moment. Well, there's a glitch. It's not going to pull up for us. All right. Well, I tried to pull up for you, Mr. Car. Can't even get the screen and go back down now. Let me stop the shift for a moment. So the root word for Lecha is going to be the same word halak, which is to walk. So basically, he's telling him, all right, then we're back. No, let's go back. All right, there we go. So the Lecha is telling him, you go, you get out, you go, you leave here. So this is a command to Abraham at the time, his name wasn't changed, get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto a land that I will show thee. What do you think this takes?
Faith.
Boy, y'all saying everything. But I got one answer that I didn't think everybody's gonna get today, because that's one of them. But first of all, the very first one that I was asking when I asked that question was faith. This takes faith. Now, Yah said unto Abram, Lech Lecha, get you out. Get you out from where? Of your country and from your kindred, or your molodet, which is Toledet is going to be your kindred, your genealogies, all your people, all your family. And from your father's house unto a land that I will show thee. What's one of the reasons why a lot of people tell you they don't want to walk this walk today? My grandma and them, and them grandma and them and granddaddy and them, and this is what we've been doing. So I mean, this is how we was brought up. But the word speaks against that right from the very beginning. If they are wrong, and if the Most High says, I'm calling you to me, you have to do what? Get up and go. Elder said, get right. So Lech Lecha. So now Yah said unto Abram, get thee out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto the land that I will show thee. That's going to take faith. And that's going to take you from your comfort zone. That's taking you from your provision. Just think about it for those of us that live close to family. And like now, we are spiritual mishpachah, right? If I need some sugar, I can go to Ima Audrey house, Ima Newkirk house. Might be a little further. I can go to Uziel house. I mean, I can go to Kanak house. They need a piece of bread and come to my house. Like, it's a little bit comfortable when you know some people closely. But it say leave all that behind and what? Go? Man.
Not know where you're going.
And not what?
And not know where you're
And
going.
not know where you're going. Y'all see the difference in the faith they teach in modern teaching of faith versus the faith that it's saying this man had? This is a different level of faith. It's not that same false faith they teaching that you don't have to do what the Creator says. Why? Because I want to give the other word that Uziel just brought out. A lot of times we only see the faith aspect, but Abraham was obedient to everything y'all told him to do. So he had faith as well as obedience. A lot of people want to say his faith produced obedience. That could very well be what it was, but he had, what we see is what he had, both faith and obedience. So the difference is when most people are saying they got faith and they believe in the Creator, then where's your obedience? If you believe, if you want to separate the two, then where's your obedience? If you say you like Abraham, because Abraham did what? What the Father said. And he left from his kindred. He got away from his family because they was in error. They was in idolatry. They was in a country that was doing negativity, which was under the rulership or the leadership of Nimrod. All right. Verse 2 says, and I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great and be you a blessing. And I will bless them that bless you, and him that curse you will I curse, and in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. What do y'all get out of that portion?
All of his descendants, all of his descendants of the earth, all the people that follow Yah.
Okay. You say all his descendants of the earth, all the people that follow Yah. I'm with you. All his descendants of the earth, all the people that follow Yah, but what? Because you said all of his descendants and all the people that follow Yah, but you didn't complete your statement yet. They'll be blessed. Okay. You let me clip. You let me on a cliffhanger. You say all his descendants and all them. We was on a cliffhanger. Azaria, Shabbat Shalom.
He says, out of you, out of our loins, will I make thee a great nation.
Mm-hmm.
So from you, there's a great nation that's going to be pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm calling you to be. And then he says, anyone that bless you, I will bless them. But if they try to put a cursing on you, that I will put a stumbling block before them. And out of everything in this earth, he said the blessing will be off his name.
All right.
The blessing will be off his name.
Hallelujah. So the sister took back the genealogy. She said, out your loins, like the people that I bring forth from you. So he's the righteous one. If they're following you and if they're coming forth from you, they should be righteous. Then anybody that's still not in the earth, if they rock with y'all and treat you right, okay, I'm gonna stop because sister got her hand up.
Just going along with what everyone's been saying, I see a covenant.
You see it?
The covenant is being made.
The covenant is being made. And so when I say our Father is the Elohim of covenant, he's always an Elohim of covenant. So anybody that always wants to do away with covenant, they don't even know the Creator. He always makes covenants. He always makes covenants. So it says, I will make thee a great nation and I will bless you. So he's letting them know, if you heed what I'm telling you, leave this land, go where I'm telling you, trust me and obey me, I will make you a great nation. Meaning from your loins, as the sister said, from your loins, I'm going to bring forth. I need to bring, so when you look at the very beginning, right, it said all mankind was evil, pretty much continuing. Noah was saved. Now we get to the point where we have Abraham, but he said, I will never destroy it again like I did in that day, because I know they're wicked from their youth, right? But now what we see is he's appointed Abraham to office. You need to be the light in the earth to show everybody else how they're supposed to live. And if they follow your example, they'll be blessed. If they come against you, they'll be cursed. Why? Because what we've seen from Noah now to Abraham, the Most High was actually trying to deal with mankind at one point. Now he has mediators that he's always going through. I got mediators, y'all too filthy. Y'all have to follow the vessels that I have in the earth and the lineage that I've placed in the earth to lead y'all back to me. So it said, I will make you a great nation. Did anybody online have anything? I can't see the online screen. I don't see any hands up. Okay. I will make thee a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great and be thou a blessing. Question, is Abraham's name great? Because we all talk about Abraham when? So if Abraham's name is still great, because we know him and everybody in the world talks about Abraham, Muslims talk about Abraham, Hebrews talk about Abraham, Christians talk about Abraham, right? So everybody know Abraham. So his name is great, but the covenant is dead. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. His name is great because we all know it. Everybody honors Abraham, but it was a covenant attached to this. You got to do something. So now covenant don't matter, but the promise of Yah still is just here. So Yah can fulfill his portion, but Abraham and Abraham's seed don't have to fulfill the portion of the covenant that we're supposed to fulfill. Y'all see how y'all not, that's why I keep saying use common sense for nonsense. Y'all see how the adversary is tricky, right? How can you have the blessed name and the covenant is dead? Don't make sense. It was an agreement here that was being made. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse him that curse you will I curse, and in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Verse 3, what do y'all get from that? I'm about to the close. I will bless them that bless you, him that curse you will I curse, and in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Yes, ma'am.
Make me think about when you were talking about earlier, restoration of like righteousness upon the earth.
Restoration of righteousness upon the earth through him. Praise Most High. Okay. Because we've seen that's what he's doing, restoring. Yes, sir.
If Abraham was to diligently do what the Most High commands him to do, this protection about him.
Okay. He said if Abraham would diligently do what the Most High commanded him to do, there's going to be a hedge of protection around him. All that's correct. This is restoration happening. This is a righteous man, and it's given a focal point. Follow this man and follow his lineage, because according to his lineage is where the word of the Most High is going to dwell, right? And that's where blessings are going to come from. So, in looking at this, and in my studies, you see different scholars say whether this is like it's just like a saying, like is it reflective? Like, does it mean they be blessed from looking at you, looking upon you? Does it mean you're going to bless them? Is all this discussion around what does it mean that they're going to be blessed? For me, just reading in context, whatever blessings come for the creator, I feel the creator, for me, and what I interpret, because this is in the PL form, is an active thing, something that's going to activate to take place. I feel like blessings will come upon people through Abraham. When we read the text and you follow the text, when he went through lands, the people felt what when he came through the land? So I feel like the Most High saying, if you want the blessings of Yah, it's going to come through Abraham. Because if they following you who are restoring righteousness, who are showing people the way to me, if they follow you, if they bless you, for them following you and bless you because you are not the one that has the word of Yah, then if they bless you, they follow you and they obey and live like you live, then they will be blessed through you, meaning Yah still the one doing the blessing, but it's actively taking place through the life of Abraham. That's why when it says, when Abraham went to places, people love Abraham. Because anybody that came through, he made sure they ate good. He was a hospitable person. He was a righteous man. He had a good ruach in the earth. He was different than the rest of mankind. The rest of mankind had some evil tendencies. Abraham didn't have those things. He was a giver. He was a provider. He was a protector. He was righteous. So if we are supposed to be seed of Abraham or Abraham, what's going on with us today with our mean-spirited selves? Because there's something I want to highlight here. And in you shall your family in the earth be blessed. That's what it said, right?
All families.
It said what? What families?
All families.
All families of the earth shall be blessed. So does it sound like the Most High, even though Abraham is the line that we're to follow, does it sound like only his line will be blessed? It sounds like as long as people bless him and follow his example, his lead, then they can be blessed also, right? Because it said all families of the earth. We do know that Abraham had multiple children. And then there was a line that was supposed to be followed. And we also seen that the creator, even with Ishmael, right? The Most High still did what for Ishmael? He still blessed him. I just need him separated from the focal point who we're focusing on right here. But Ishmael is still blessed. They actually still blessed right now. They got more than we got. You know what I'm saying? Because of our disobedient selves, but they're good, right? So they were blessed, but now the Most High had Abraham as the lineage of the line to focus on, to follow, but they were seed of Abraham, right? And they're also Shemitic. He had others that was not only Ishmael that produced more nations and more families that were what? Hebrews also. And at this particular time, when he's saying this to Abraham, who did not and what did not exist?
Israelites.
Hallelujah. So we not only have to look at Christian doctrine that has us being anti-Yah and anti-Yah's Torah and his instructions and breaking his covenants. We also have to be we all have to be mindful of doctrines that have us around here being hateful to everyone, thinking we're the only people that the Most High blesses. We're the only people that the Most High will deal with. No, we're the appointed people that the Most High deals with. If we dealing right as seed of Abraham, then through us shall the nation of earth be blessed. And if we properly walk it out and the Most High really start blessing us, then we can actually see through the text. When Haman had leprosy, where did he go? To where? Israelites. When Ben-Hadad was sick with disease, what did he send to? He sent to the prophet of what? The Israelites of a Hebrew, right? So people were still realizing that in order to be blessed, there's only one true Elohim, there's only one true power, and we have to go to their Elohim once the Most High has proved himself to them and crushed their gods. Then people started seeking the Creator through what? The appointed people. So there's a duty and a responsibility that comes with knowing Torah, but not just knowing Torah, but understanding Torah. Torah does not teach us to be these hateful, mean-spirited people. It do tell us to separate ourselves, but it also says, he will bless them that bless us, he will curse them that curse us, and through Abraham shall all families of the earth be blessed. When that statement was made, there was not an Israelite in existence. So that was also a covenant word also. So an Israelite can't even come, because now we find out we Israelites, and undo the word of Yah that says, well, only Israel can be blessed. When we can see that through the word, there was those who came to Israelites to receive blessings from the Most High. And we have also seen kings that the Most High lifted up for his purpose that lived a blessed lifestyle for a season. So with that, I'm going to yield here at this point for the sake of time, but we'll be covering more of this. I just want us to get back into the mindset of renewing our mind for restoration. If we want to talk about restoring a nation and we want to be restored to the Creator, we got to get back into the right mindset or the heart set that Yah wants us to be in. Mankind was destroyed from the very beginning because they didn't serve the Creator. Then the Creator had a righteous line following Noah. Enoch came through that line. So you got this righteous line, the Shemites that now comes through, now follows to Abraham, Moshe, Yisrael. You got Israel, which Moshe comes from Yisrael, and you keep following. So it's a line that's supposed to be followed, but they have a duty in the earth. Their duty in the earth is to serve Yah, live righteous, show the rest of the earth how to live, and those that will follow in the examples of Abraham, our forefathers, if they are blessing Abraham's seed, they shall be blessed. If they're cursing Abraham's seed, they should be cursed. That's the word of the Most High. And we can't even undo that promise that the Most High has given even to the rest of the earth. Because he said he would not just do away with all mankind. He destroyed the whole earth the first time, not because there was wasn't no Israelite present, it's because they was wicked. And if they would not have been wicked, he would not have what? Destroyed them. So there's a call on the life of a Hebrew. There's a call on the life of an Israelite. The first return to Yah, to return to covenant, and then also understand the covenant. What's our duty in the earth? What's it to be a royal nation, a royal priesthood, to be a priest to who? You should be a priest to yourself? So you're supposed to be a priest unto others to show forth the light and the truth of the Most High Yah. So with that, I give all praise, honor, and esteem to the Most High. For us, when we're trying to get to restoration is start when us getting back into these Torah, into the Torah reading it and getting understanding and having discussion. And again, for those that we may sometimes use terms that you're not familiar with, ask questions, notate it, and you can ask questions after class if you don't want to ask during class time. But that's what we want to do. We want to get back into really getting into this word and trying to understand what the Creator wants from us, and also circumcising our hearts from what we've learned along the way from bitterness of even some of our own brothers and sisters, even our forefathers that was bitter, that had bitterness, because we can see that our true forefather, who was Abraham, he told a different story. He was told a different story, and the command that was given to him was to be pretty much a light in the earth, walk in this covenant. Anyone that bless you shall be blessed if they bless you. So with that, I'm going to yield at this time. I will be picking back up in this chapter next week because there's a lot more that I want to get in this story, but the Hebrew portion took a little longer today. So again, if y'all would, in closing, go back to studying in the Hebrew, your long vowels, short vowels. Knowing the difference between your long vowels and short vowels is going to be very key in pronunciation, because when you get to using the Shiva, you're going to need to know whether if a short vowel precedes it, which means it comes before it, then it will be a silent. If a long vowel precedes it, it will be pronounced. If you don't know the difference between your short and long vowels, you're going to always have issues when it comes to trying to read the text when it comes to the Shiva, all right? And with that, I give all praise, all honor, all esteem to the Most High. May his name be esteemed always and forevermore. Before I close, any comments or any questions before we yield the floor? All right. We give all praise, all honor, all esteem to the Most High. May his name be praised always and forevermore. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, we're going to yield the floor now to Adon Kanakia.